The soundtrack of Hades 2 is great. There is really no debate about that. But the exact moment I absolutely fell in love with the score was during the Scylla boss fight. When I stunned the Siren playing the drums, I noticed something strange. The drum part disappeared from the track, and in that moment I thought to myself, this might be one of the most brilliant uses of diegetic music in video games. And that, wait. Diegetic? What does that even mean? In this video, I'm going to explain the meaning of that word. We will also discover that all sound in video games and movies can be divided into 4 categories, and I'll explain what each of them is. And finally, we'll tie all this back to Hades 2, and why the Scylla boss fight is so damn interesting. Alright. The word diegetic comes from diegesis. In this context, it simply means the world of the film or the game, and everything that exists inside it. Everything the characters of that world can experience, including sound, is diegetic. On the other hand, sounds that only we as the audience or the player can perceive are called non-diegetic. These are our first 2 categories. Let's start with a diegetic sound.
Yes, I lied to you.
If the character can hear it, it is diegetic. This includes things like busy street, vehicles, weather, dialogue, gunshots, footsteps, and yes, music that exists inside the world. The main purpose of diegetic sound is to establish and expand the world in which the story takes place, but it can also be used as a storytelling device in itself. For example, in Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, the wolf is introduced with a simple whistling tune. Later in the movie, the same tune becomes a reminder of Puss's mortality. Sometimes a lack of sound can be just as powerful. A quiet place is essentially built around that idea. We usually take diegetic sound completely for granted. We expect it to always be there. If you swing a weapon, of course it makes a sound. But when that expectation is subverted, it can create some extraordinary moments. Which leads us to the second category, non-diegetic sound. The soundtrack is the most common example. It doesn't exist inside the world of the story. The characters can't hear it. Narration is also usually non-diegetic.
Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427.
A story told by someone who is not part of it. Although, if the narrator is a character inside the world, like in Forrest Gump,
Now they told us that Vietnam was gonna be very different.
then the narration becomes diegetic. Sound effects can also be non-diegetic. They can be used to enhance an action sequence, to set a mood for a scene, or in video games to inform the player of a certain action, like picking up an item. But let's go back to music. Non-diegetic music is a crucial part of both games and movies. It enhances scenes and reflects their emotional core. Hedwig's theme underlines the magical feeling of seeing Hogwarts for the first time. Subnautica wouldn't feel nearly as breathtaking or adventurous without its music. And without the modern rock sound mixed with Greek traditional instruments, Hades 2 wouldn't have its unique flavor. Tracks like The End of Time, Sightless Shepherd, or Lap of Luxury are all fantastic examples of non-diegetic music enhancing the moments they accompany. And then there is Coral Crown, the song that accompanies the Scylla boss fight. What initially feels like a traditional soundtrack, something outside the world of Hades 2, is suddenly revealed to be music that exists inside the boss arena itself. For me, the realization came the moment I stunned the Siren playing the drums. The drums dropped out of the track. After a while, she returned to the fight, and the drum part returned with her. When you defeat the Siren playing the electric guitar, the guitar part is removed from the music for the rest of the fight. And when both Sirens are out, you are left with just Scylla, singing a cappella. There is also a small but brilliant detail. When Scylla hides inside her shell, her voice becomes muffled. Because, well, she's singing from inside a shell. So, now the question is, which category does this music belong to? It's clearly diegetic, because the characters are the ones performing it. But, at the beginning, before that realization, it feels non-diegetic. We'll answer that question in a moment. First, let's take a closer look at Coral Crown itself. Structurally, Coral Crown is built like a typical rock song. It alternates between slower verses and more energetic choruses. The melody is, of course, sang by Scylla herself. The verses consist mostly of long half notes with only occasional rhythmic variation. The chorus melody is far more active. The first two measures move slowly, with long notes followed by rests. The next two introduce a dotted rhythmic figure that contrasts nicely with the sustained notes. The Siren playing the electric guitar provides harmonic support, but more importantly, she fills in the rhythmic gaps left by the vocal line, using eighth notes and occasional 16th notes. Without the electric guitar, the song starts to feel like it's dragging. The percussion part, played by the other Siren, gives the track its punctuation. Without it, the music feels flat and lifeless. And that is exactly the point. By defeating individual Sirens, Scylla weakens, and her song weakens with her. When all three are active, the fight is at its most intense, just like the music. When both Sirens are stunned or defeated, and Scylla retreats into her shell, the fight becomes simpler, much simpler. At that time, the music nearly disappears. One more fascinating aspect of this song is its harmony, because you see, Coral Crown is built almost entirely on just two chords, C sharp minor and A flat dominant 7, or in functional terms, chord 1 and chord 5/7. There are plenty of famous examples of music built on just two chords. You Can Never Tell by Chuck Berry, Give Peace a Chance by John Lennon, or the opening section of Beethoven's Für Elise. All of them use the same basic idea, 1 to 5. So why does this work? Because these two chords create a constant push and pull. The 1 chord is the most stable, relaxed chord in a key. The 5 chord, on the other hand, is the most tense one. By constantly moving between them, the music creates tension and release over and over again. Even with only 2 chords, it stays engaging. If you would like to dive deeper into this idea of musical push and pull, I have made an entire video about it, where I explore how dialogue in music works and why the best compositions rely on it. Now we can finally answer the question, where does Coral Crown belong? Is it diegetic or non-diegetic? The answer is neither, or rather both. This brings us to the third category, trans-diegetic sound. Trans-diegetic sound crosses the boundary. It starts in one category and then reveals itself as the other. You are led to believe the sound belongs outside the world, until it suddenly doesn't. A classic example comes from Django Unchained, where non-diegetic music is later revealed to be coming from within the scene itself. Another example can be found in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
You gonna come in and watch?
But this transition can also work in reverse. Diegetic music can turn into a non-diegetic one, like in Apocalypse Now. Or Baby Driver. The final category consists of sounds that don't neatly fit into any of the others. These are sounds that break the established rules. They are often ambiguous. Let's look at the opening scene of Drive from 2011. The synthesizers are clearly non-diegetic. The characters can't hear them, and yet the music reacts to what's happening on screen. When the driver speeds up, the music intensifies. When he stops, the music stops. So, is it diegetic or is it not? We can't really tell. Something similar happens in Silksong. The music exists outside the world, yet it responds directly to the player's movement. The higher you climb, the more intense the music becomes. In Joker, during the final scene, Arthur sings along to a song that the person next to him clearly cannot hear. The music exists somewhere between reality and perception. So let's wrap it up. By now you know what diegetic means. It's everything that exists inside the world of a movie or a video game. Everything that comes from outside is non-diegetic. Sometimes the sound can be deceptive, like with Scylla, where what feels like a soundtrack turns out to be in-game performance. And sometimes the line is completely blurred, and the sound resists any single category. Scylla isn't memorable just because Coral Crown is a great song. She's memorable because the music isn't background, it's a character, a gameplay mechanic. If you enjoyed this musical breakdown, consider subscribing to the channel, liking the video and sharing it with your friends. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next one.